Hello and welcome to the Daily Show here on Claret and Booze. My name's Gary. Today we're going to look back briefly at City, and we're going to sort of talk about what did that performance mean? What does it give us? And then we'll look forward to, because that links into the next couple of stories. We're seeing a mini mass exodus at West Ham in terms of players leaving. We're also seeing lots of players linked, and I'm just going to pick one of them out and talk about them because I think it looks quite promising. Right, but before we start, if you're new to the channel, please watch the video, see if you like it. If you do, please subscribe to the channel Claret and Booze to get our daily shows. Please hit the bell notification icon and give us a like. So on with the show. Now, yesterday was disappointing. Desperately disappointing. Now, I'm not going to get too carried away. In fact, I was more disappointed yesterday than I am today. Today, I can see the wood for the trees. But it's like, you go to a game of football, the team don't turn up, and you leave feeling a little bit shortchanged. And I was probably quite angry at the end yesterday. And I think we all were when we did the, me, John and Nick, when we did the Booze Up show last night. We tried to make light of it as much as possible, but let's be honest, it was poor. It was poor. Apart from a couple of high points, it was poor. And the team seemed to be lacking match fitness. A lot of them seemed to be missing sort of, I don't know, for want of a better word, commitment, desire. They didn't seem to be up to the task in hand. And we know when we play the likes of Man City, in order for us to have a chance, Man City always deliver. And teams like that always deliver to a kind of minimum acceptable level. They're always good, right? Sometimes they're a bit more good than other times. And I think yesterday was pretty much a training game for them. We didn't really make them get out of second gear, right? And that's what was really disappointing for me. When the first goal went in, we tried to make a fist of it in the second half. They scored the second. It was game over. We waved the white flag, didn't we? But anyway, look, going into that game must have been a bit of a nightmare for Moyes, because he suddenly got one fit centre-half in the whole club, or at least one that's willing to play. As Moyes said in his post-match interview yesterday, Issa Diop had not made himself available to play, which I find appalling, really. He's still in the employ of the club. We desperately needed a centre-half yesterday. He should have played that game. But unfortunately, Johnson got thrown in, so we start against one of the, if not the world's best striker, and we're playing a left stroke right back at centre half. It was a makeshift defence, and it was really only going to end in one way, that game. Sad though it is. We're going to see, Diop is just the first one. We've seen this news today. A fee has been agreed now with Fulham for 17 million. So congratulations, Issa. You have engineered your way out. I mean, look, you're not going to leave with any hard feelings, to be honest, because I think, you've done quite well, being no more than a bit part player in the last couple of seasons. Sometimes hit some heights, but really not regularly enough, and often been found wanting. So anyway, good luck to you. Shame it had to end in such a sour way, having to force the move, but hey, there you go. Another two players who are being linked with the exit door today are Saïd Benrahma, who's been linked with Forest for 30 million. Now, for those of you that were at the City game yesterday, you'd see the problem with Saïd Benrahma there, graphically illustrated in front of you. He does this time and time again, where he breaks forward, he beats his man, he's got no one in front of him, he's got the ball at his feet, all he has to do is deliver a good cross. And 2 times in succession yesterday, he delivered crosses that were about 2 foot off the ground and hit the first man. Scamacca's standing there in the middle wondering where's the service going to come from. So look, for me, he's always an impact bench player. He's not a starter. Having said that, to be fair to him, I suppose he's more of a number 10 than he is a left winger. He has been put out on the left wing a lot. But the thing is, in the middle, it's even more congested if you're playing as a number 10. Out wide, you've got time to think. And maybe he's one of these players who doesn't need time to think. Maybe he's worse when he has time to think. Maybe he just has to go on instinct. I don't know. But anyway, look, if we sell him and we get 30 million in, that's fine with me, because, we can reinvest that in someone who Moyes wants, let's be honest. The other one is Nikola Vlasic. Nikola Vlasic is being linked heavily with Torino. They want a loan. We don't want to loan him. We want to sell him. And I think when you look at those three players, those three outbound players, Issa Diop, Nikola Vlasic, Saïd Benrahma potentially. I still think there's a doubt about Benrahma, by the way. I think he might stay. But anyway, if you look at those three players, none of those are David Moyes signings. Now, yes, I know people want to credit Nikola Vlasic to David Moyes, but that ain't apparently what happened. Also, Krau, that's another one that Moyes didn't want, and it showed. Whenever a player gets hoisted on Moyes, he's reluctant to use them. He used Saïd Benrahma more than most, but he wanted Eze, who went to Crystal Palace, right? And he's ended up with Benrahma. So once one player gets another, I just hope that going forward in this transfer window, when he finally gets rid of the players that he ain't signed, I mean, that includes Diop, right? He gets rid of the players that he ain't signed. He has to bring his own players in. He has to bring his own players in and make his own imprint on the side. Now, after yesterday, after that game, it's bloody clear what the number one priority is, right? The number one priority is a centre-half. And the centre-half we appear to be very closely linked to at the moment. And I think Nick has covered this. John might have covered it as well. But Attila Salai, 12.4 million potential signing from Fenerbahce. 6'4" tall, left-sided centre-half, can also play left-back as well. Hungarian international, very strong, very dominant, right up the David Moyes street. I mean, right up the Craig Dawson street. That kind of player, only a lot younger. I believe his early 20s is about 24, 25. So that's potentially, can we get that business done this week? If not, come the Lingard derby on Sunday, we've got to see 3 changes to that side that started yesterday, to my mind. We've got to see Dawson back. And I have a feeling that he was protected yesterday because he's been suffering with this slight thigh strain, or so that's the way Moyes described it. He probably thought, you play him against City, against Haaland, he's probably going to end up getting, more injured. So they've given him another week to get his fitness back. So I expect him to start against Forest at the weekend. Also, I would expect Max Cornet to start as well, because even though I love Fornals, he ain't a left winger. Let's put a proper left winger on the left. Because if you look what happened to Bowen yesterday, City did a great job on Bowen. They were doubling up on him. They can't do that if we've got other threats in the team. If everything is coming down one side through Bowen, then it's quite easy to close Bowen out if you're a team as good as Man City. But if we've got multiple avenues of pleasure, and we've got not only Bowen on the right, but we've got Cornet on the left as well, and potentially, a Fornals or a Lanzini in the middle, because they were, neither of those two played well yesterday, let's be honest. But hopefully they'll find some fitness. My preference is Fornals, because I think he's a bit more creative and a bit more consistent, right? But it's all about, and then you look at Scamacca. Now Scamacca made he was the high point yesterday. Him and Rice were the two guys on the pitch who put in a performance. Without Rice, we would have got slaughtered, right? Scamacca came on, looked like the real deal. I mean, he's a very elegant looking player, and I don't know if you caught it, but I just want to recount something I said on the show last night. I was listening to TalkSport on the way to the game yesterday, and Sam Delaney was on there, and he said he'd been speaking with his Italian cousin. Yes, he has an Italian cousin. And his Italian cousin said in Italy they were so surprised that West Ham got Scamacca because he is the next big thing in the Italian national team. Mancini loves him. He said it's equivalent to Bologna signing Harry Kane, which I found absolutely incredible. And when you saw the little cameo from Scamacca yesterday, he does look a little bit special, doesn't he? 1/2 chance. It wasn't even a good cross, but he got so much power in that header. I know it was offside, but it just showed the guy's intent. A perfect pinpoint header going straight in the corner, and Ederson got down to it. But, if you give that guy the service, he seems to be so dominant in the air. And if you've seen his show reels, he's also got a very good shot on him as well. And he shoots early. This is a proper player. So I think we're going to see the 3 changes at the weekend. Scamacca up front, Cornet on the left, Dawson at the back. And I think that'll be enough to see Forest off, right? Forest are going to be up for it. It's going to be their first game back in the Premier League. But I did watch them at the weekend and they were woeful. Absolutely woeful. Made me wonder if they're actually cut out for this league at all, But I'm sure they will improve. I just hope that improvement doesn't come against us. Need to see a massive improvement with West Ham. Too many players on that pitch yesterday were below par. Souček, appalling. Lanzini, terrible. Fornals, way below par. You look at Antonio. Now, Antonio he took a knock, which was a hip injury that he got. So we were all thinking in the ground it was his knee, and thinking, why don't you get him off the pitch? Well, that's why, because it wasn't his knee, it was his hip. And so Moyes was trying to, see if he could shake it off. But apparently he had quite a bit of he had a sort of numb sensation on in one of his legs when he came off, and he was limping badly at the end. So I don't think even Antonio's going to even be available for the Forest game, right? So to a certain extent, I mean, look, that is a better injury than him pulling his hamstring. Hopefully it's nothing serious and just an impact injury. Man City are a tough team, and you're going to get knocked from pillar to post. But the one thing I like about Scamacca is he relishes that battle with the centre-halves. You saw the way he positioned himself yesterday, right in between both centre-halves, and he thinks nothing about cleaning out a defender just to win a header. And that they are the references that he came with, right? He came with those references. So anyway, look, let's hope we sign a defender. City wasn't good, but let's move on. Let's do a good job at Forest. Let's hope for something a bit better. Can't be worse, can it? So and let's hope for some more signings. There's 3 weeks of the window to go. Centre back has got to be number one priority. Attacking midfield essential if we move those other players on. Defensive midfield as well. We're being linked with Cornet's mate from PSV as well. Who again, I know as much about him as I knew about Onana. But you know what happened with Onana, and I think we all, as West Ham fans, we suffer from this. When we first got linked with Onana, we're going, who? Onana? And then we start reading about him and realise he's a great hope, and he's a 20-year-old, and Arsenal are interested in him, etc. Notice Arsenal didn't put a bid in for him. But when all that plays out over a couple of weeks, we all ended up sort of demanding Onana. We really wanted Onana. Let's hope he turns out to be a dud. But anyway, this guy, this PSV guy, whose name I haven't got in front of me, so sorry for my lack of preparation. But he, to all intents and purposes, looks like a good player as well. So it's an alternative. He's cheaper, 25 million. But either way, we've got to build that strength in depth. You saw yesterday how quickly in one game of football injuries can happen, right? 30 minutes for Fabianski. Bowen went down halfway through the first half. Antonio looks like he's got a knock. That's potentially 3 players in one game. That is what happens, and that is why you need a squad and you need strength in depth. I want to also see Brereton Diaz come in at the end of the window for 15 million, but I think we're going to have to bring some more money in before we spend any money when it comes to an additional striker. Mainly because if we're going to start playing with a target man and we're going to start getting service into the box, we're going to need a backup to Scamacca. We can't just think that Scamacca's going to play the whole season like Antonio, right? We've got to have a backup for the conference, for cup games and everything else. Scamacca's got to have a rest, right? Brereton Diaz, that would be a perfect introduction for him into the big time. A seasoned international, spoken about him many times before. Started the season great for Blackburn, and it just feels like a snip. Because he's in the last year of his contract, 15 million just feels like a steal. So That's my personal hope anyway. Anyway, look, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please can you subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze, hit the bell notification icon and click like. Nick and John will be doing daily shows. I might even be back this week as well. It depends how much transfer news there is. Until then, see you next time, and come on, you Irons.